Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining this call. You can call me Raghu, you can call me Guru, you can call me Raghavendra, or you can call me Prasad. So I'm a big follower of God. Okay, so Raghavendra, so you can call me Guru. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen and tell me if you're able to see my screen, uh, entire screen. I hope you can see my screen. Please confirm it.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Raghu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
yes.
visual.
Yes, Raghu.
It is visible.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay. Do you see this also in your screen, like audio, video, participants, chat, share? No, right?
No.
Okay, you can see only the Microsoft slide, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. That's good. Fine. We will wait for 1 minute, and let's do one thing. I know about Rohit, I know about Akshay, a few more who joined after, which is not interested, like Paul. Can you introduce about yourself, what you do, and whether you're new to Azure, right? So
Yeah.
based on that, it will be easy for me to start with.
Yes. Yes. Hi. Hi, Guru. So this is Paul.
Yeah, your voice is very low.
1 second.
I think my voice is okay, right, guys?
Yes. Yes. Your voice is okay.
Your voice is little low. I hope his voice is little low for everyone. If you, right?
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, hi Guru, I'm Paul. So I am working desktop support engineer. So I have an experience 7 years in desktop support. So and I'm new to the cloud platform. So I want to upgrade my skills so that it will be good for me in the coming future.
Okay. Very, very nice. Nice knowing about that. Okay. So day by day, we will come to know. See, now this course, what I designed is, see, this is basically start from the scratch and end with your in detailed one. Now,
Okay.
when it comes to what my request is, please mute yourself. And
Yeah,
what
sure.
I do is every training of mine, I'll give you 5 or 10 minutes to talk in the end, so that it will be, we will not divert the training to anywhere else, right? So what we do here is, like, let's start with the training, and I'll give you 10 minutes for question and answers, so that it will be easy for everyone to discuss, right? And this particular module, what I'm talking about here is, let's start with the cloud fundamentals. That means, because see, when you're new to Azure, right, you should know what is exactly Azure is all about. Correct? Fine. I hope you can see my screen and my voice is very clear. And
Yes.
thank you so much for joining. So today I'm going to do till 11, and tomorrow we will start with, if you guys are okay, we can start by 8:30 also, if you guys are okay to start a little earlier, so that we can wind up little earlier, right? So
Okay. Fine.
you guys
Fine.
are fine with 8:30 to
No,
12:30?
no, no, I am not fine with 8:30 because I have some other priorities at that
Oh,
point of time.
okay, okay, okay,
Maybe,
fine.
yeah, maybe for one day it is fine, but not
Okay,
all.
okay, okay. Then it is fine. No issues, no issues, no issues.
In 9 o'clock can also work.
Yeah, 9 o'clock also works, right? For you, like, who has had a problem?
Yeah, yeah, 9 o'clock is fine. Yeah, nine
So
eight.
9 to 1, it will be good, right? Because it is good, right? Like,
Yes, yes.
yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay, fine. Now, let's jump into the topic. So today's topic, I'm going to talk about only the cloud fundamentals, okay? And when it comes to cloud fundamentals, what do you mean by cloud? That is one big challenge for everyone, right? When it comes to, see, earlier when I started my career, I was knowing only the Windows and Linux, right? but I was not sure what exactly this cloud. I was thought like, okay, some cloud is there where rain comes, right? So I was thought like that cloud. And later I just started exploring on those things, right? I got an idea, okay, this is what cloud, right? So when it comes to cloud, so what we are going to talk about in the cloud, see, as an Azure, or let's say when it comes to Azure, right? So Azure is again a public cloud, right? So now when it comes to Azure, what exactly they're giving, why we have to choose Azure? So that is what we are going to talk about. And in the mid of the training, there is some topic comes as VPN, so virtual private network. So in those areas, I will compare between two services like your AWS and Azure, right? So how you are going to meet, or you're going to talk to that on-prem or Azure environment from Azure to AWS, right? Or Azure to your on-prem. So how I'm going to talk, or let's say when I'm talk means how you're going to communicate between two resources or two different platforms, to be more precise, right? So that I'm going to show in detail. How are you going to explore that? Because that is not there in terms of your custom one, but still I'm going to add that so that you'll get a clear picture. Okay, when to use what, right? Fine. So let's get into the actual topic, cloud concept. Now, before we getting into this, I just want to give some examples. How to make this here. I don't want to capture this. Give me 1 minute. I'll stop sharing. Where is that? Hide caption. Okay, cool. Do you need caption? No, right? Okay. I hope you can see my screen now. Correct? Can you confirm?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into. Now, let's say I have an environment. Let's say this is my environment. Don't get confused. I'm just writing all this as a diagram so that you will not get confused. Now, let's say I have something called as a compute. So I'm going to keep all the images, okay? I'm going to keep all the images so that it will be easy for you to understand, because always images are very important, correct? So let's say this is my compute. It take lots of time for to make you understand on terms of picture, right? So it will be easy for you to understand. Now I have something called as compute. Okay. Now I have something called as storage. Let's take a very good diagram. Guys, I have not introduced myself. Basically, I work for as a freelancer, and I have around 20 years of experience. I started my career in 2004, right? So you'll come to know day by day when we started exploring. But my idea is behind this, I want to teach you guys Azure. So let's say I have a storage here. And what else, guys? I have my database. We take all good diagrams. Okay, so you'll have all the anti, which is the good diagram. So make sure that I'll take this one. So why I'm putting this diagram, it will be useful for you. So let's say this is my database. And I have servers. I have something called as networks. let's say I have servers. And tomorrow I'm going to ask you questions, what we discussed today, okay? So make sure that you will answer all the questions. So let's say server. And finally, we have something called as network. So network, we will take this one, looks good. Okay, so what is the point of adding all these diagrams? Let's say day-to-day life, you want to use all these peripherals or platforms. Now, right now, everyone who is working from home, right? So what I do, I'll get back to my laptop. So let's say I'm sitting today in home and in front of me, there's a laptop. So I have my laptop right now. And what I do is over a remote, I'll access all these resources. Let's say I want to access all the resources.
Sorry to interrupt, Raghu.
Yeah.
I am not able to see your screen.
What about others?
We can
I
see.
can
I
see.
can
You
see.
can see.
Yeah.
Can you please reshare?
I think it's not issue from my end. It's issue from your end because others able to see, right?
It's only showing Pratik Neo skills on my screen.
No.
Yes.
Can you re-log in or let me
Yeah, sure. I'll relog in.
let me
Okay.
do one thing. See, I'll stop sharing. Okay.
Yep.
And now you can see your name, correct?
Yeah.
Now can you confirm?
Yeah, done. Now it's okay.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So what we have started is a compute, storage, your databases, your server, and your network. Now, right now I'm in home. I'll use my laptop and I want to access all these resources over the, how I'm accessing these resources now? I'm accessing these resources. Definitely what we need? Internet, correct? So I'm accessing all these resources through my internet, which is connected to my Tata Sky. And if I'm in office, let's take an example. I'm in office as well. So what I do, I'm on the private network. So accessing these resources through my internet or through my private network. And this is nothing but your cloud computing. So when I say cloud computing, Azure is a public cloud. Azure is a public cloud. So now I want to access all these resources over the internet, and this is nothing but your cloud computing. That means when I say cloud computing, it is a delivery of compute service or computing services over the internet. One thing I want to add here, private as well, which you won't see in the PPT or anywhere, but it is accessible over the internet and private network also, which is otherwise called as cloud. Make sense? And what you do here is you're going to use this environment, and what you're going to do is I'll use this environment, pay as you go pricing. For example, the postpaid. So what I do, I'll use my postpaid network and I will use my postpaid. I'll pay accordingly. Whatever you've used the connection, at the end of the month, I'll get the bill and I'm going to pay it. Same thing in Azure. I'm going to use all these peripherals or resources and I will pay whatever I've used. That's why Azure is called as pay-as-you-go model, right? So again, I'm repeating, Azure is a cloud computing. So when we say cloud computing is what? All these resources over the internet, that's what cloud computing. That means Azure is a cloud computing services created by Microsoft for building, testing, right? Deploying, your managing applications. What else does? And services through Microsoft managed data center. Have you seen anyone data center in your lifetime?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Good, Akshay.
yes,
What about others?
yes, I have seen.
Okay. What about
Yeah.
us? What about Rohit? Others?
Yes, I have seen.
Yes, I have seen.
That is absolutely very good. So let me show something called as a data set. So in real time, what Azure is doing here? See, in the on-premises, you have same thing. When it comes to Azure also, in the back end, Microsoft will have their own data center. Now, if I want to build my virtual machine, what I do, I will have my portal.azure.com by sitting at my home. Instead of investing on my infrastructure, I will go and access this particular resources over the internet. And whatever I access, whatever I used the environment, I'm going to pay with that, right? So that is what the Microsoft data center, which is managed by the Microsoft, and they will not disclose the address. See why? Because see, let's take an example, Azure data center or Microsoft managed data centers. Due to privacy, because the data will be not only for you, right? Because Azure works in the shared model. What is shared model, guys? Take an example. Now, Akshay wants to create a virtual machine. Guru wants to create a virtual machine. Raghavendra wants to create a virtual machine. Asha wants to create a virtual machine. Now, I don't know what exactly in the backend, right? So let's say I have a rack here. This is my rack in Microsoft. Let's call it as Microsoft MS short form guy. Short form of Microsoft is MS. MS data center, DC. Now what I do, they'll have a rack and all the servers are placed here. Let's say server 1, let's say server 2, let's say server 3. So irrespective of anyone, if they use the portal and they've launched a virtual machine, right? Let's say this is my one person who launch, again one person who launch, or again one person. So what in terms of security, you're getting it because here, let's say abc.com, someone who has implemented that, and someone xyz.com, and someone, let's say pontoso.com. So as a customer, I'll not come to know that xyz.com, it's on the same rack they've placed the virtual machine or servers. Because Azure is a public cloud where anybody can travel inside that. But one day thing is, I will not come to know, okay, this is what happened. But Azure is giving a promise that, okay, see, your data will be safe. How they will say safe? You have to go with the Microsoft documentation and other stuff, correct? So when it comes to cloud computing, I'm going to use all these platforms over the internet. So if someone asks you what is cloud computing, yes, this is what it is, a delivery of computing services over the internet, which is otherwise called as cloud. Cloud computing means it can be anything: storage, your database, your compute, your server, your network, your firewall, your n number of services in Azure, right? Any doubt on this? So how I'm going to achieve this? By sitting from home, I will log into portal.azure.com. And I will make a simple API call. Let's say I want to build a virtual machine. I will just simple API call from here. And it will reach my destination, right? And it will go and talk to the resources. If I am a privileged user to create a virtual machine, it will create automatically. That means the moment you enter the details, what kind of server you want, what kind of network you're planning for, what kind of, whether you want to enable the data backup, whether you want to go with the SSD hard disk, or whether you want to go to the hard disk, normal hard disk, right? Whether you want to enable your scripting, right? That's what I'm going to decide. And I'm going to put that into the portal. And from the back end, Azure will have a data center. They will provide you the best node to implement your services. Got it? So now, as I mentioned, we are going to talk about cloud computing, shared responsibility, cloud models, capital and operational costing. What are the benefits of cloud? And what is this? Infrastructure, platform as services, and software services. Do not say IaaS. No, always you have to specify the name. Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service. SaaS based, definitely we can say, but again, if you say software as a service, it makes sense, correct? So anything comes out of this, it ends with the service. Infrastructure as a service, platform as a services, and software as a services. We're going to see that today, if time persists. But unfortunately, I have to wind up the call at 11 today, 10:45 or 11, because my daughter is not well, as I mentioned earlier. So let's see how many topics we're going to cover today. Now, when it comes to cloud computing, so what is this cloud computing is all about, guys? It is the delivery of compute services over the internet. It can be anything: compute, storage, your databases, your servers, and network. Because Azure is giving us a data center, we will utilize that as a public, right? So that's what it means. You can see here, cloud computing is a delivery of computing services over the internet, enabling faster innovation, flexible resources, and economic scales. So these are the benefits. If I'm talking about cloud benefits, let me go back here. Okay, I don't have space. It's okay. I'm going to remove this. This I've given example of the data center. So when it comes to a cloud computing, what we say? Offers. That's an offer actually for you. Why I have to choose cloud computing of Azure, right? That is what it is: faster innovation. It's very fast. You can innovate. You can just, within a fraction of a minute, you can establish your environment. In terms of your on-premises, is that possible, guys? Let's take an example. I worked in the on-premises. If I want to build a server, let's say small server. So what I have to do? First I need to take a quotation from the vendor, and that vendor will give you his own time. Then I have to take that copy, then send it to the purchasing team, make a PO. Again, I have to wait for 12 days or 15 days. My work is almost 1 month over, right? But in Azure, I can innovate a faster way, and I don't need to depend on any infrastructure. I just have to escalate to Azure. I want to build this environment. Just make one call, API call, it will build, right? That is where it is faster innovation. When it comes to flexible, yes, I can do the flexible. Let's take an example when I'm talking about the flexible resources. If I want to resize the virtual machine in terms of your on-premise, what do you do, guys? It is again time consuming. You have to go whether any critical applications running on that, or what kind of, you have to go with the change management, you have to raise a CR, a change record, then you have to go with the CAB meeting. All those tips are there in the on-premises. But when it comes to Azure, it's a very flexible. You have something called as vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. You can just do within fraction of seconds, you can just modify the entire environment, right? Only thing is when you modify, let's say, for example, I want to increase the size from 16 GB to 32 GB. So that is called vertical scaling. And what it does is it will stop the machine and you can start the machine. So only Microsoft says, okay, Guru, if or anyone, if you want to change the hardware, I need a time for reboot only. That's the downtime, nothing else. 10 minutes of downtime to restart your server. That is what I need. That's it. And it is giving benefit of economics at scale. It is reasonable and it throws, like, for example, if I want to build a virtual machine or if I want to build a storage in East US, right? So I'm going to talk about the region, but you have to make, there are so many regions. Based on the region, you're going to implement, right? For example, East US, I've given one example. We're going to see what is region, how you're going to implement. But when it comes to economical scale, let's say if I want to build a virtual machine, it will give you the pricing. Okay, this model, whatever you have selected the hardware, the pricing is this per hour basis, right? So always it will go as a per hour basis in terms of your Azure. That's why it is very economic. So as I mentioned, this is shared model, right? When you say shared model, what is the responsibility as an on-premises guy? Let's say, how many of you are from on-premises here?
Me.
Me
Akshay,
too.
very good. Akshay, you know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
So when it comes to on-premises, you have superpower. I'm telling you, really, you have superpower. It means I will have control on this physical host, physical network, physical data center. But when it comes to Azure, I don't have that privilege, right? When it comes to Azure, when I'm talking about infrastructure as a services, I have no control on these parameters. Even in fact, in the past, even in fact, in the, let's say, a SaaS based, you don't have control. Why? Because the underlying hardware will be taken care from the public cloud provider, which is Microsoft. That means your Azure. Now, when it comes to on-premises, yes, I can visit the data center. I can just do what I wish. And I can take care of the operating system, network, applications, identity and directory, and your accounts or something like identities. Everything I can take care from sitting in one place, right? Because I'm on physical environment, correct? But when it comes to Azure, definitely you have full control. But only thing is you don't have full control on these parameters, right? So what I do, I'll just have to take care on the operating system in terms of your infrastructure as a services. And I have to take care of the network. I have to take care of the applications, then identity and directory management. I have to take care of the accounts and identities where I create the users. I have to take care of the users' mobile and devices. Then I have to take care of the information data. So that is very important when it comes to infrastructure as a services. But when I'm choosing my platform as services, so what do you mean by all these three difference? So when it comes to platform as a services, take an example. Whenever when it comes to infrastructure as services, let's say I want to take care of the operating system. I have to choose the operating system. I want to install my application. I have to take care. So that is all responsibility as you, as a customer. But when it comes to platform, let's say Akshay wants to build a application. Let's say he is from the application background. He has a code. but you don't want to take care of the infrastructure. No, I just want to implement my application. That's all I want to take, but I don't want to take care of infrastructure. That means I don't want to take care of the operating system. I don't want to take care of the network. I will be responsible only for my application. Then Azure says, okay, Akshay, don't worry. We are going to give the platform. You bring your code and you can deploy. You don't need to take care of your servers, because servers, again, we will take care from the back end. Make sense? But when it comes to software as a services, can you give me an example of software as services by looking at this diagram? Day to day we use, guys.
Office 365.
Yep.
Very good. Day to day we use since long time. Very long time. Example, Gmail. Right, we don't know where is the server. We don't know where is what is happening. But I am responsible for my data. Whatever the mails are inside the Gmail, it's my responsibility. I'm not going to take, if I lose the data, I can't say that, okay, I lost my mails, right? So that is my control, right? I can delete or do whatever. But end of the day, I'm not going to install any application. Everything is ready-made. I'm just going to create an account and just maintain. So I don't need to control the operating system, nothing. It's a Gmail is the best example, or Google Drive or Office 365. Everything is the best example for software as a services. But when it comes to platform as services, in Azure, many services are there in platform as services. Let's take an example, app service plan. Just an example, guys. App service plan. This we are going to talk in detail, but here we are talking about only shared module responsibility, right? So we will talk about app service plan. How are you going to implement your application? How are you taking care of the high availability? How are you going to design? It should not expose to the public. So those things we're going to talk about in the app service plan, that is serverless, right? Azure gives you the environment. I'm going to build the environment. I'm going to say, I'm going to build my application. I'm going to deploy the application. Your application can be on the local repository, or you can keep it in the GitHub, right? Bitbucket or anything, right? I'm going to implement that service in platform as a services, right? But when it comes to software as services, many things are there. Example, Salesforce. Have you heard about Salesforce, guys? One of the best example for software services. SaaS-based application. Thousands of their SaaS-based application, right? You can integrate in Azure. Very simple. You don't need to bring any, you just go and just select all the ready-made SaaS-based, you can implement that in your directory. That we will see, but that is all advanced level courses. What is possible from my end to make sure that understand the topic, I'm going to do that. Okay. Any doubt on this? Okay. Now it comes, there are three types of cloud. What is that? There are three types of cloud. The first one, private cloud. What do you mean by this private cloud, guys? But the name itself, it says, right? Private, correct? Private. So private means what? Let's take an example. Today, I want to travel from Mumbai to, or let's say I'm in Gurgaon. I want to go to airport. So what I'll do, I'll book a cab. So that cab comes to your home, the doorstep, right? So that is nothing but private, because I'm going to use only for me, right? Or take an example. You work for IBM, or let's say Wipro, or any company, that infra is called private. That means organizations create a cloud environment in their data center, right? They're responsible for operating the services they provide. It is not exposed to your internet. Make sense? It is not exposed to internet. They have their own. Take an example of IBM or Wipro or any company or private company. So they will utilize their own data center, right? And does not provide access to public. Take an example of cab, right? But what is the disadvantage here? Anyone? See, advantage is you'll have full control. You have n number of control. You can do whatever, right? But what is the disadvantage when it comes to private cloud? Anyone?
It is very costly. It is difficult.
Scalability.
Very good, man. Very good. So when I say a disadvantage, main disadvantage, cost. I hope everyone agree with this.
Hmm.
See, one more disadvantage. Let's say I brought my Samsung mobile. Okay. One day I'm using, like after 1 year, will you have that resale value? No. So in the data center, they place the servers over a period of time. Definitely there won't be resize. And we don't know when the peripheral will go down. Do you agree with that, guys? Correct? So I don't know when this goes off. And over a period of time, that it's a hardware peripheral, again, it's an electronic product. We don't know when it will go, but you have invested lots of money with that, right? So always you have to choose, okay, this is what the money I've invested. Okay, I don't have resale value. I know that. That's why I want to move to Azure, right? I don't need to pay anything. I will use the infrastructure. I don't need to be worried about the costing. I'll select my virtual machine. I want to implement, not only I'm talking about virtual machine, I'm just giving an example. I can choose whatever data I want, whatever the hardware I want, right? That is where public cloud, private cloud, I'm going to say the disadvantage. When it comes to costing, yes, I have to be worried, right? So when you know this, when you're architecting, it is useful, right? So when I'm comparing the private cloud with the public cloud, private cloud is always you have to purchase the hardware, correct? Either you do a startup company or a maintenance, definitely have to be purchased. Hardware has to be purchased, correct? But one good thing is, guys, one good thing about the private is organization will have complete control over the resources and security as well. But one thing is the organization will be responsible for hardware maintenance and updates. I have to sit and plan for my maintenance window. How many of you worked on maintenance window?
Yes, me.
Okay, I was part of Samsung and we were supporting for client. Everyone monthly once, patching management, right? And you don't know about that issue. The moment we update the patches, some application will not come back or some other problem. Have you noticed that? Have you gone through that problem?
Yes, some
Yeah.
application is not working.
So especially for your databases, some of the things will start or it was a big problem when it comes to, but because responsible on the hardware maintenance, not only I'm talking about the updates or patch management, even on the hardware maintenance. Let's say I was with IBM and I was a location infra lead. So what I was doing here there, that is called UPS monthly maintenance. Because see, UPS, the guys who maintain, right, they have to switch off entire data center. That means on a Saturday, it goes around 12 to 18 hours. and that is called hardware maintenance. They will do the maintenance, and it is not an easy task. So that's why when I'm talking about the private cloud, the cost will impact, and you are responsible for maintenance of hardware and your updates. And one good thing is you'll have over control of the resources. But one disadvantage is you should purchase the hardware. Either you do a startup company or a maintenance, right? Now we will move to public cloud. That's where public has come, right? So when it comes to public, right? As I mentioned, let me move here. Public cloud. Guys, I like something to fill always, don't mind, okay? So I'm like that person where I want to fill something inside. So don't mind on that. So let's take an example. When someone says, as mentioned, a shared model. I'm going to say in the PPT, you might have seen shared model, right? So when it comes to public, I think I've discussed already. Still, I want to discuss. Now, let's say when Azure says shared model, this is my shared model. And this is my shared model. Now, let's say customer, I'll just say one customer or two customers. So let's say laptop. I'm going to use other diagram also. First day, I'm just using this. I'm going to use something ready-made. Images will be already there, but I want to use in the Azure when we talk about the architect level. But here I'm going to use this one. So let's say I have a customer 2. Let's say customer 3. Customer 4. Right? So customer 1 will be part of Azure. Customer 2 will be part of Azure. Let's say customer 1 wants to build an environment. Because the customer 1, customer 2, customer 3, because I want to use my Azure as a public cloud. When they say public, take an example of metro, right? Whether you're rich or poor, doesn't matter. You have to go in metro with other people, right? You will not have separate metro. Do you agree with that, guys? Right? Same thing in Azure. I'm giving for public, but how are you going to use that public environment? That is your wish, right? But how are you going to secure? It is there in your hand, right? But when I say public, I work under shared model. That means customer 1 will be part of Azure, customer 2 will be part of Azure, customer 3 will be part of Azure. Irrespective of any customers, I don't mind, because end of the day, I want to provide for public, and public has to take care, because I'm going to give you the provision how to take care also, because lots of services there, like firewall, like you have a DDoS protection. How are you going to protect your environment? You design that, right? So whenever it comes to the shared model, which I was talking about here, so I have by rack. You have seen in the diagram as well. So I have rack here like this, where I'll place the machine. This is one example of rack. I'm going to place my machine, a customer 1 here, and customer 2 will place here. But as I mentioned, it's shared model. I don't know, customer 3 will not know customer 1, because they are isolated, because this is an isolated environment, right? We don't know where exactly the server is placed. We have to trust Azure, because Azure, why we have to trust our Microsoft, guys? First thing, anyone? How can I trust Microsoft? That's where the compliance management comes here. Lots of Microsoft documentation is there. Lots of ISO certification for Microsoft, which is from third party. They are certified with the thing, right? So they have openly challenged, okay, this is what compliance, this is what certification we got it, right? And Microsoft is giving that open challenge, okay, this is what we are doing on the public cloud and we are safe, right? And the customer one comes, okay, I feel Azure is very safe and I don't need to verify. So I'm going to put my machine on rack 1. I will not come to know whether it's in rack 1 or rack 2. My machine will be placed and my neighbor who is customer 1, I will not have the interaction with customer 1. Make sense, guys? No interaction. No interaction, right? So, but it will be placed on the same rack. Correct? So whenever you visit a temple, definitely you'll go with your slippers, right? Or shoe, right? But you will place it in the shoe rack, right? I don't know whose shoe is that, but they will place in a rack and customer will be very happy that he will get his shoe because he will get a token. Do you agree with that, guys? And he will just bring that. Same thing in Azure. It's a public cloud. I'm going to give the environment and you can place accordingly, but I'm going to give the services. Whatever you're getting in the on-premises, I'll give you more services. Not only that, not only what you're getting, what you're missing in the your environment, I'm going to give much more better way. But I'm not going to give full control for you. If I give a full control, that will be a physical. But I will give you the control, certain things, but the underlying hardware will be with me only. That means Microsoft. If I give underlying hardware for you, that won't make sense. Then you have to go physically to Microsoft, right? So that is only thing is you don't have full control on the hardware, right? Now, when it comes to PPT, public cloud, owned by cloud services, a hosting provider. So example, your Azure, AWS, GCP, Alibaba, so many cloud, right? So when it comes to cloud computing, as you know that we are going to access over the cloud. Owned by cloud services, hosting provider, provides resources and services to multiple organization users, irrespective of any users. I will pay, I'm going to use it. But how are you going to take care? That is your headache. We are going to provide the services. Use that services to protect your environment on Azure, right? Access via secured network connection, typically over the internet. But what is the disadvantage, guys, here? Anyone?
We don't have a complete access on that servers.
Yeah, that is good. Yes. What else? Let's say, for example, I'll give you int, okay? Today you joined because of what? Because you're connected to internet, correct?
Yes.
So if so everything depends on your internet, right? But what is the main advantage here is I don't want to invest no capital expenditure to scale up, right? I'll just log into the portal.azure.com. I'll spin up the virtual machine or I'll spin up any services and I don't require to invest money on that. And one main advantage is applications can be quickly provisioned and deprovisioned. Let's say I will implement the application services today. I can deprovision tomorrow, right? And what organizations will do? They will pay only they have used. One day I've used this service. I'm going to pay for only one day. Make sense? I hope I'm not boring you, right, guys?
No, it's
No.
all right.
No, not at all. No.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, here one more service comes in picture. the main thing. I know private, I know public. What is this new name? It is nothing but hybrid cloud. Combines public and private clouds to allow application to run most appropriate location. That means, let me take this diagram. It looks good diagram. That's why I just want to copy that. Yeah, when I saved, it should take automatically as a 20. I don't know why it's again coming as, okay. Hybrid cloud. The best one. Best one means I want to make use of both the environments, right? So in what scenario I'm going to use this? Because nowadays, any organization like IBM, Wipro, Samsung, whatever the company, right? They're adopting today's hybrid cloud. That means which is a combination of your public, combination of public cloud and private cloud. Make sense? So now, when I say public and private cloud, let's take an example. I have an Azure environment here. So this is Azure environment. I'm just taking an example of, this is public, guys. This is Azure, this is on-prem, okay? But still, I just want to put a diagram here so that you'll come to me. So what I'm going to do is, when you see this icon, you have to say it's a Azure, okay? That's why I'm just putting all these diagrams, guys. Don't want that. Okay. When you see carefully on the image, right, it is written A. So sometimes you may not feel that all of a sudden, what is this icon? If you see kind of A, right, then it is called Azure, right? So what this does is connecting existing data center. So when I say existing data center, that is your on-prem environment, right? To Azure data center via internet with the help of VPN tunnel. Or you can connect with private with the help of express route. So there are two services when it comes to connecting your existing data center to Azure. Now I will place a tunnel here between your on-prem and Azure on-prem private and public Azure. So in order to connect this existing data center to Azure, I will go either through internet. When I say internet, it is nothing but your VPN. But VPN is a bandwidth is very less. Okay. So that's why many organizations, what they do is, no, this I don't want. I want to go with my express route. Express route is not part of any course. It's an advanced course of your, let's say, security, right? But I'm going to say when we're talking about the VPN, so I'll go with the express route. Now, my connectivity is done. Express route. It is purely dedicated with private. There is no chances of compromising on your data, right? Take an example. What are the scenarios which comes? How to use the hybrid cloud? What is the advantage? Let's say you will bring the existing data center and you will connect with the Azure. And also, you're not bringing the existing data center, guys. You're connecting your existing data center. I'll repeat the word, connecting your existing data center to Azure data center. Example. Application host on Azure data center, right? And the database in client data center. Who is client for me here? My on-prem. So I'll host my application in Azure and I'll make use of my on-prem data center, on-prem database, right? That is one thing. Take an example. One more scenario is, I have a bunch of users. Let's say in the on-premises, I have n number of users. Let's say I have thousands of users here. Now, all of a sudden, this particular users wants to access many applications hosted on, let's say here I have hosted SaaS-based application. Example is my Salesforce. Take an example. I'm just talking about the scenario, guys. Okay, just to make understand. Now I have hosted my Salesforce here. Let's say in Azure, I've hosted Salesforce application. So now my organization, they want to make sure that these users wants to use this Salesforce. Okay. And one good thing here is the scenario is like this. On-prem user wants to access Azure Salesforce application or Azure SaaS-based application. SaaS-based application. With single sign-on. What do you mean by single sign-on, guys? When you say single sign-on,
It's just a one-time login.
that's absolutely correct. So, username and password, or what we, in a more precise way, same user name and password will be used to access Azure SaaS-based application. How it is possible? It is possible. You have lots of things to get it. But I want my Azure users to access this particular application. They have to use same ID and password. So what this does is, Microsoft gives you a scenario. Okay, your on-premises user wants to access the Salesforce. No problem. You can bring the users, but how are you going to bring the users? Because I'm not going to create any users in Azure. So there is someone called a mediator. That's called intra-connect, which is good. A small diagram. Okay, I'm gonna put it this way, or we can call it as intra-connect or AD connect. Earlier it was called AD connect. I can say this one. This looks okay. That is also AD connect or intra-connect. So what Microsoft does is, okay, no problem. What you do is in your on-premises, install this AD or intra-connect. We call it as intra-connect now. Earlier it was AD connect. So install AD connect or intra-connect on one of your machine on the server. Okay. And through this, your users will sync to AD connect. AD connect, what it does is, it will sync to Microsoft Entra ID. What is that? Microsoft Entra is nothing but your Active Directory. So here, it will sync to my Active Directory. Through AD Connect, it will sync to here, and this is part of my Active Directory. Now, whatever your on-premises users, what it does, the moment I install the AD Connect, all the on-premises users will come into will sync to my Azure Active Directory or Entra ID. It will sync from here. This is too much of information, but I'm just giving an example. So if my user wants to use a single sign-on, and they should not think that they're using any other ID, they're accessing any other environment, right? They can access the Salesforce by using the single sign-on, and with the help of AD Connect, which is synchronized from on-prem to Azure Active Directory, and these users can access Salesforce by using the on-prem user ID and password. Make sense, guys?
Yep.
And this is like quite complicated for you guys now to understand, but it is okay. What are the scenario? I've given the scenario based, right? So the moment I go back here, it combines the public and private clouds to allow application to run in the most appropriate location. It's your choice, right? So public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. That's the solution which is given there. So what is the comparison here? Public cloud, no capital expenditure to scale up. Do you agree with that? Applications can be quickly provisioned and provisioned. That's what we discussed. Organization pay only for what they use. Private cloud, definitely this is a disadvantage. I have to procure the hardware. I have to make sure that, but one good thing is this one, but one thing is to start up, or you have to invest the money. And hardware organizations are complete control. This is one good thing actually on terms of your private cloud. So organization responsible for hardware maintenance, one big headache. It's not an headache. It's like, yes, if you're supporting for a customer, it's a big headache only, right? Something which is not coming up, and maintenance you have done already. And the headache is to bring the devices up, to bring the applications up, right? That is where you face lots of challenge. And hybrid cloud, definitely a good option. Anyone like Wipro, any company, right? Not specific to one company called Wipro or IBM. Any company who wants HCL or Tech Mahindra or whatever, they'll use this benefit now. And as a cloud administrator, you have to take care of on-prem and you have to take care of Azure also. That's why they provide a most flexibility, right? Organization determines where to run their application. It's my choose, my option. An organization can control security compliance and legal requirements, right? When it comes to your hybrid cloud. So public cloud solutions are readily available from Azure, right? Azure provide infrastructure as services. When it comes to your private cloud, are dedicated to one organizations often have more specific security control being public cloud, correct? When it comes to hybrid, it's a blend of public and private cloud. Make sense, guys? Now, this is one big thing for everyone because I have to compare this one. By looking at this, by reading this, you don't need to be, it's a self-explanatory here again. What is that, guys? Capital expenditure. Whether it is on-prem or cloud, when it comes to capital expenditure, it is absolutely your physical. That means it's your on-premises when it is comes to CapEx or OpEx. CapEx is your on-prem upfront payment spending of money on physical infrastructure. Yeah, I have to start up company. I have to start company called Raghavendra Cloud Computing or Cloud Software. Right. What I have to do? I have to see the land first. Then I have to see the infrastructure of a building. Okay, building. Okay, how many users can go into sit? How many my employees can seated, right? How many security I have to hire? Those everything. It's not only on the your physical, what we say, servers. Physical infra, it is part of your maintenance, it is part of security, part of administrator, it is part of procuring the hardware, overall complete infra, right? So cost from capex has value that reduces over time. Yes, today I brought my Samsung phone over a period of time, or let's say I built a server today which is 5 lakhs rupees. Over a period of time, it reduces its value, right? Like us. Do you agree with that, guys? As a human being, over a period of age, like, right? So people will not care. Oh, you're old. Okay. So I'm just giving an example, guys. So in real time, it is happening for human being. Think about it's just a peripherals, right? So when it comes to operational expenditure, this is very nice. I don't need to spend on products and services as needed. I'm gonna use pay as. Can you give me an example of pay as you go, guys, in your real time? Apart from your postpaid, let's say I have a Netflix account, right? So whatever the movie in the month, you can see a lot of time, but you're going to pay the bill of monthly ones, correct? Same thing on the postpaid also. I will use my Geo or your Airtel. I'm going to pay only 1 month, 1 month once. There's a billing cycle. In Azure, what do you think, guys? It's day by day payment or monthly payment? Monthly billable. Same
Monthly.
monthly. But let's take an example. One,
Hourly are also there.
huh?
Hourly are also there.
No. That is you monthly based, but hourly based is for the services. Take an example. That's what I just want to come back on that. Let's say I have used one virtual machine. This is the VM. Now I used for 1 hour. Okay. And what I did, I decommissioned or let's say deleted the virtual machine. So you have to pay for what? 1 hour. When I have to pay? Next month. Not on the right now. No. I've used one virtual machine and that is I've used for 1 hour. My work is done. Now I will decommission the machine and I have to pay only 1 hour charges. But let's say I've used for 1 hour, 10 minutes. I have to pay for what? 1 hour, 10 minutes? No. I have to pay for 2 hours. So if you used 5 minutes, 10 minutes also, you have to pay for 1 hour, right? So whenever you're implementing any virtual machine, it will give you an cost. Hey, if you're using this is the cost per hour. Even cost varies based on the location. Let's say you want to implement the server in Azure data center, which is in central India. That cost is different. If I want to build a virtual machine in East US, that is different, right? So based on that, you will choose the environment and get bill immediately. That means you'll get a bill. It's not like get bill immediately. It is your bill will be there. You have to take care on that, right? So no capital expenditure on terms of on your Azure. The one good thing here is no upfront payment. But some of the things, for example, I will pay to Azure on upfront to get the benefit only. Again, how Azure is giving is, let's say I want to, let's say this virtual machine cost around, let's say $1,200 per year. Okay. See, this is just an example. I will show you again, but just an overview, right? So now I'll ask Microsoft, hey, can you give me some discount, please? Microsoft, what they say is, okay, what is your budget? $1,200 per year. So they'll say, do some upfront payment, let's say $600, and you'll get 40% discount. Okay. So I hate writing in this, but just see that, because I never use writing on the PPT. It's very bad habit. So what I mean to say is, Azure gives you, you say 60% of payment, you do it now, and I'll give you the same machine, and you'll get a 40% discount at one shot. Will you get discount in your on-premises? You'll never get it, right? So that's where I have to go with Azure, right? You get lots of benefits. Fine. And it is consumption-based model. What do you mean by consumption? If I use today, I know I'm going to pay for monthly billing. I make sure that I will pay whatever I've used it. I will make sure that I will do the cost optimization, right? So cloud service providers operate on consumption-based model, which means end users can only pay for the resources they use. As I've given example, one hour I've used virtual machine. I know the costing and I've terminated the machine. Whatever they use is what they pay for. I'll pay only for 1 hour virtual machine costing. So better cost prediction, yes. Prices for individual resources and services are provided. It is not like complete entire infra. No, I'm using my virtual machine or an app service plan. Based on the services, Azure will give you a costing, right? So billing is based on actual usage. Again, they're giving you more visibility here, correct guys? Correct guys? Do you agree with this, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will stop here, and tomorrow I will start from 9 o'clock till 1 p.m. Okay, so I have to rush it to hospital now. So since I've agreed to make sure that I will do it today, but unfortunately I have to rush it to hospital. Any doubts so far, guys?
Just wanted to know whether we'll be getting these PPTs and study material.
No, because this is Microsoft one. I will tell you how to get the course material. Okay, don't worry. Okay. So
Yeah.
you guys are happy with the training? Anything to be improved, or you guys are okay, the flow is good and we are able to understand?
Going good, Raghu.
Okay, that's good then. Hey, give me 1 minute, guys, if you don't mind. 1 minute. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so any doubts what we discussed about cloud? So I will keep this diagram for you guys. So if you want, you can use the diagram, right? Or you can take a screenshot of that. So we will see tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I agreed, everyone is agreed for 9 o'clock. So we will make a meeting. We will start about this, and I'll go with the advanced topic. We'll talk about cloud benefits, how the cloud benefits, which comes to how Azure is giving the benefits, and how infrastructure comes in picture, how platform comes in picture, how software is, when to choose what. So that we will discuss, and we will discuss about the rest of the things. Okay.
Raghu, what is this module thing? Training module name. What is the training module name for filling that form?
You can say fundamentals.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. And I'm sorry could not extend for another 2 hours. I hope everyone will understand. Okay, see you tomorrow. And thank you so much. And you'll get the recordings. I'm going to share the recording link later once it creates the recording in the cloud. I will share you that link. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful day. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
I will
Thank
join at
you.
8:50.
Thank you.
I'll join at 8:50. You can join 9 o'clock also, but I will join with 8:45 itself. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.